So you're going to join me for a drive. I'm waiting for a phone call at the minute. It's not a dodgy phone call. In fact, someone's been very kind. I get a lot of really good people on social media reach out just to help me with what I'm doing. I do a lot of support for veterans and that with my therapy. And my laptop shat itself a few months ago, so I got it fixed. And the minute I got it fixed, I brought it home. I put it on the side, and for some reason I had a book on the side. It was in a carry bag, and I put it on the bag in the carry bag, and the laptop just, it slow motion slipped out. It landed on the fucking floor, fell off the table and dented, and it's functional but it's on its way out. And someone very kindly reached out to me on social media, so that part of his job role, he has new laptops quite often, and therefore the old ones get donated to various charities and organisations. And he said, would you like one? I said, I'd love one, thank you very much. So I'm waiting on the phone call today to go and collect that laptop. So as usual, I'm killing time. Now I don't just like sit around doing fuck all, so I thought, let's do a YouTube, because I'm now going to start doing this more often, because I'm losing my fucking will to live on TikTok. I really am. I'm not going to leave it. I feel things get a little bit repetitive, and as I said on the previous video, the restrictions are getting a little bit restrictive. Would be the best word to describe it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a catch up over the last year of what's happened and how things are going, and where I'm hoping to take it. I don't know how long this was going to be. It might be 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, but I could fucking rub it for ages. So look at this as a potential one-man podcast if you want to listen to me rabbit on for a little while in my dulcet southwest tones whilst driving. So I don't know what the background noise is going to be like. It is what it is. So basically a year ago, let's say April, well then more likely, yeah, it was April last year, I was working in 2 G4S prisons, HMP Oakwood and HMP 5 Wells, looking at veteran support. It's going really well. Provided a comprehensive service covering everything that veterans needed, including liaising with the outside when they get released. It was a good service to do, as well as program delivery, which is what I'd done while I was in prison. The plan was to bring that out of the jails. Sorry, when I got released from prison, to reintroduce it back in the prison and go in and work. That was my plan. And it's gone really well. Until there was a rat in the house. Now, I'm not going to give this man's name at this stage, because one is I'm still on licence, and if should I get recalled back to prison, I would likely go back to the one that I was last in, which would be HMP Oakwood, and this piece of shit works in Oakwood, so it wouldn't be very good for me to expose this piece of shit prematurely, because it wouldn't go down well if I now got to be there with someone who is now in a managerial position within the prison. But it's important to know that I will definitely be naming and shaming some individuals under the G4S flag. I don't mean, certainly there isn't anyone from 5 Wells which I'll be naming, because to be fair, 5 Wells are just doing a job. You know, I don't have an issue with anyone there. Well done. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it is what it is. But there are certainly a couple within Oakwood I'd like, and certainly external to Oakwood, I'm going to fucking name and shame. And it's not even libel or slander, because all I'm going to tell you, everything I tell you will be fucking true. And I hope that they get to hear it, and I hope that some of the posts that I produce about these people goes fucking viral, because it needs to, because people need to see the kind of people that are working in this establishment. And I'll tell you, explain to you why I'm going to do that. So last year, everything was going really well with the veteran support. I set up a company primarily because they required a company to work with. They wouldn't pay you if you weren't part of a company. And a certain structures need to be in place in order to facilitate the sort of program delivery that I was doing. I borrowed money to get my course accredited. I committed, really committed to this thing, until this particular individual decides to go digging through my social media, which, fair enough, people can follow under different names, and I dare say, if you're watching this now, I know who you are, and I will be fucking naming and shaming you when the time comes, and you know who you are. You assisted me with my rottles, put it that way. Alright, not say any more than that for this stage, just so you know that I know who you are, because I know he's going to watch this. He decided to go sifting through my TikTok account, where he found cherry-picked a couple of posts which I'd used. Now, anyone that knows me or my humour knows that my humour is dark and satire. And the two posts that he chose to pick, one where I said the word nonce under my breath in a joking way, and it was about a troll who said something about being embarrassed about going to prison, and I said, well, I've got nothing, I'm not embarrassed about my offence, are you embarrassed about yours? Nonce. That's how I said it. So he selected that post there. What he also did, he selected another post where I was clearly joking, when someone asked me a question and said to me, Rich, what makes a decent screw, a decent officer? And my response to that was, one that comes in his cell, masturbates you in the morning. And then straight off the back of that, I said, no, in all seriousness, one that takes notes, one that is he listens to you, one that doesn't bang your door shut. I went into all the reasons, the real reasons what makes a good officer. And he took these two videos completely out of context, took them to the directors of the prison, said, look what he's been doing here, look. And that resulted in an immediate suspension from all prisons, from two posts that I did. They didn't look at the other 1,000 or so posts I've done, which are being helpful and benefiting people that are caught up within that industry. No, they didn't see any of those. What they saw, these two posts. Now, it's very conveniently timed. The reason I say that was round about the beginning of April, the 1st of April last year, there was a brand new incentive put in by Op Courage with the NHS for veteran support across the UK. A part of this support is veterans caught up within the criminal justice system. Now, there are two key charities there. One used to be called Project Nova, now known as Op Nova, and another one called Care After Combat. Both do good jobs. I'm not taking anything away from these two charities, but they got direct funding from the NHS. Pretty big fucking funding package as well. I think a good few mil. And their funding was so they could cover the service and support for all veterans caught up in the criminal justice system, whether they be in prison or on a social community order. And it seems convenient that all of a sudden that this funding came in place, which is externally funded, that all of a sudden me, who was internally funded, so the prison paid me directly for my service, doesn't it seem convenient that all of a sudden they no longer need my services? Reading between the lines, it tells me that they knew this was happening, they needed a reason to get rid. This is the prison or the prisons or the company that is there to support you during the sentence and encourage you. And yet all the plans that they supported and encouraged to me whilst I was in custody, they take away because they don't want to fund it all of a sudden, because they've suddenly got funding elsewhere. Seems like a cop-out, doesn't it, to me? That's how I felt anyway. So that happened last April with no notice. That's it, done. Sorry, you're gone, we don't need you anymore. But I did have a feeling, I don't know why, I just had a little feeling that something wasn't right. So then I was kind of like stuck with this situation, like, fuck, that is my income. Not just my primary income, that was my income. That's how I was surviving. I suddenly had nothing. So then what I had to do is, luckily I'd put in some good invoices, so I had enough money sort of due in which could cover me up till August. So I had like 3 or 4 months. And then right at the same time, one door shuts, another one opened up. Shine TV got in touch on Instagram and said about the Banged Up series which was going to happen. So I thought, fuck it, that's convenient, that might really help out. So I then spent sort of April through till, it was April and May, just doing some interviews and a few, I guess you could call it, what do you call a thing when you go to a fucking, you're going to do a, oh man, that's going to fuck me up now. What do you call that thing when you do a, I'm going to pause it. I spent 5 minutes trying to think of it and I still can't think of it. It's audition, it came to me. like an audition, I guess, to talk about myself, and they're just assessing if you're suitable to go on the programme. Got through everything, and then that kind of got to the point where you've been accepted, right, okay, you're going to be filming between these dates. I think it was the 10th until the 40th until the 24th of June. last year, 2023. I thought, fuck, that's gonna be amazing. So I'll go back in prison for a few days. So that all started to come together around about June time. That was a really weird time because I'm then thinking, right, I'm prepping up to go back into prison now. How fucking weird is that? And with that, we had to do like a soft isolation because of COVID from the 10th until the 13th, which basically meant you could be at home, you couldn't go anywhere else. We did COVID tests every single day, check that you were clear. We then had a taxi arrive on the 13th, or maybe the morning of the 14th possibly, where they pick you up. They had COVID shields in there. You were protected in the taxi. The driver didn't even know where he was going. Or in fact, he knew where he was going, didn't know what we were doing. He just knew he was taking it to Shrewsbury prison. So it's all quite exciting. And then you go on the set, and we did the whole banged up thing, and that was really interesting because you could tell the ones which hadn't done much bird, and the ones that had. You could tell the ones which were there making a lot of noise. A lot of the younger guys were really noisy. They were more like wire mentality. And nothing against them. They did their time there how they would have done their time inside, which was fucking chaotic. Whereas me and a few others like Frank and Lou and a few of the bigger boys, we just chilled out, did our thing. So naturally, if you had seen Banged Up, you notice I didn't make the cut. I was there, but I was background furniture. The reason being is I just played there a grey man, and that was the epitome of what most veterans in prison are like, or in life, is we played a grey man. We don't really want to be seen. We don't really want to be known. We just want to. We know you're there, but we know you're not there. Does that make sense? So, didn't really get anything out of Banged Up, apart from met a couple of really good friends. So Lewis and Frank, we've been doing our podcast. That's what we started doing last December, was the podcast, the Ex-Con Chronicles, which we've done six or seven episodes, and we've all got so many things we're doing, spinning so many fucking plates, that we put it on ice for now, but we're going to come back and reinvent it in the summer, which ain't going to be that far away. So we're doing the Ex-Con Chronicles again soon. And some of the stuff we're going to cover, we want to cover stuff which is going to be controversial, but we don't want ex-cons on there. We're the ex-cons. So that's the whole point of that thing there. So this year, basically, what I spent doing was the first part of this year, and back in the last year, was focusing on my therapy I've been doing, which is called ultra bilateral stimulation, which is fucking amazing. It's working with PTSD and other psychological disorders, and I'm having a massive impact on people's mental health. Positive impact, shall I say, not negative. And I'm literally taking away symptoms of PTSD within one session, so people are literally trauma free. I'm building on that now. I'm aiming for that to be my primary income, but it's not my primary income at the minute. However, I have been really lucky to team up with a chap called Ryan from the Veterans Army, who's got a really good organisation supporting veterans up in the Bolton area, and he has actually poured into a little tiny nugget of funding so we can get support for some of the people free of charge, which is good, because I think money shouldn't ever be a barrier for someone getting support. So if anyone does need support, and you're a veteran or a family member of a veteran in the Bolton area, look me up. We might be able to get you sorted out. If you're not a veteran, you do need support, look me up. It's going to cost you, mind, but I'm fucking good at what I do. And that's kind of like the therapy side of things. It's just building up on that. And the other aspect of that is the human performance element. Is what we found was a byproduct of removing someone's trauma. You're defragging your brain. Effectively, that's what you're doing. Same as you defrag a hard drive on a computer, you're defragging your brain, taking all the stuff that's unprocessed information, hasn't been dealt with, hasn't been stored correctly, and restoring it correctly. And the result of that is significant improved cognitive function. Your brain works quicker, your memory function is quicker, you can think faster, everything works as it should do, but people get used to it not working. That's the problem with cognitive impairment. It's a very gradual thing. Yes, if you've been exposed to a one-off horrific ordeal like an IED or a shooting or a car accident or something like that, it fucks you up, and that is enough to fuck you up to give you that PTSD. But constant exposure to a high stress environment, whether you're in the corporate world, whether you're in the entertainment industry, whether you're an athlete, the stresses involved in that frag your brain, and that's what happens. So once I can defrag that within like an hour and a half, one session, and it's amazing stuff, really good stuff. So I was looking at the options of how do I, with the loss of that income from the prison work, and it was a good earner, it was a good earner, and it was a bit of a kick in the bollocks. I've had to liquidate the company as a result of that. And that's fucking expensive. So as a result of that, I'm now looking at doing some affiliate marketing through Amazon, which is what part of the YouTube's going to be like. So whenever I do a production, if you like, or a YouTube video, a proper one, I'm going to try and do one a week, and on that I will have a product which I have researched, reviewed, and if I can would have bought and used and checked out, or at least have had some sort of experience within that field to say, yeah, this would be the one I would go for if I was going to buy that. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll be setting up links on a website page on my website of ironrichjones.co.uk. So also another thing to bear in mind is, yes, book 2 is our overseas operations. It was published back in February this year. That is now available. I am doing signed copies. If anyone wants any, give me a shout. Or if not, they're available on Amazon, as is Charlie 4 Kilo still. Book 3, the plan was to get that fucking thing written this year, but if I'm honest with you, I don't think I'm going to get around to it. I might be able to start it this year, but I've got so much going on work-wise that I need to focus on getting the bills paid, and regrettably, an author of my low level, we don't really make a lot of money. You know, you'd be lucky to cover your cost if you're lucky. And if I really balanced it properly about the amount of time that I put into promoting the book, I'll probably find a run at a loss, a significant loss. But that's the way it goes. The books aren't just for money; they're just for raising awareness. But yeah, so that's an update of where we are. What's that? 15, 16 minutes, not too bad. If you made it this far, fucking well done. If anyone's got any suggestions about anything you want me to go into, anything we cover, anything from any element of the life that I've had, whether it be the military, security industry, organised crime, prison, reform, mental health, anything you want me to expand on, email me on info@ironrichjones.co.uk. If you want me to look into a product or a service that you're interested in, which is available on Amazon, let me know. Email me and let me know. Say, can you do one on this? Because I'm happy to do it. I mean, I'm looking for ideas from people of what they want me to review, and it isn't going to. And I reiterate this: it will not be like TikTok Shop. It will not be like that. I'd rather be fucking dead. So. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it for now. 17 minutes. That's not bad, is it? Waffling. I'm almost in town. No phone call yet.